Deep in the heart of the jungle, life was thriving. The dense foliage created a canopy that filtered the sunlight, casting a greenish hue over everything below. The jungle was a living, breathing entity, teeming with life in every nook and cranny. Tall trees reached for the sky, their branches intertwining to form a natural roof. Vines hung like ropes, swaying gently in the breeze, creating a labyrinth of greenery. These trees were ancient, their roots digging deep into the earth, anchoring them firmly in place. The air was alive with the sounds of birdsong and buzzing insects. Birds of every color and size flitted from branch to branch, their melodies blending into a symphony of nature. Insects buzzed and chirped, their constant hum a reminder of the jungle's ceaseless activity. This was a place of incredible beauty. The landscape was a mosaic of vibrant greens dotted with bursts of color from exotic flowers. Streams of crystal-clear water meandered through the undergrowth, reflecting the sunlight like 1,000 tiny mirrors. It was a place of peace. Despite the constant motion and sound, there was a sense of tranquility that permeated the air. The jungle was a sanctuary, a refuge from the chaos of the outside world.
The jungle was large enough for everyone. It stretched as far as the eye could see, a vast expanse of untamed wilderness. Every creature, big or small, had its own place in this intricate web of life. Monkeys swung through the branches with effortless grace, their playful chatter echoing through the trees. They were the acrobats of the jungle, leaping from tree to tree with astonishing agility. Snakes slithered through the undergrowth, their scales glistening in the dappled sunlight. They moved silently, their presence often unnoticed until they were right upon you. Colorful parrots soared through the sky, their vibrant plumage a stark contrast to the green backdrop. They squawked and called to one another, their voices carrying far and wide. This was a place of incredible diversity. From the tiniest insects to the largest mammals, every species played a role in maintaining the balance of this ecosystem. The jungle was a testament to the wonders of nature's design. It was a place of harmony. Predators and prey coexisted in a delicate balance, each one contributing to the cycle of life. The jungle was a living example of how different species could live together in mutual respect.
At the heart of this jungle lived a powerful lion named Leo. His golden mane shone like a crown, and his eyes held the wisdom of ages. Leo was more than just a king. He was a guardian of the jungle. Leo was the king of his pride. His family looked up to him for guidance and protection. They roamed the jungle together, a formidable force that commanded respect from all other creatures. He ruled with wisdom and strength. Leo's decisions were always fair, and his leadership ensured the safety and prosperity of his pride. He patrolled his territory diligently, always on the lookout for any threats. His roar would echo through the trees, a sound that commanded respect from all who heard it. It was a declaration of his presence, a reminder that he was the undisputed ruler of this domain. Not far from Leo's territory lived another powerful creature, a majestic tiger named Tony. Tony was a solitary figure, preferring the quiet solitude of his own company. Tony was known for his stripes and his silent strength. His orange and black coat was a masterpiece of nature's artistry, and his movements were as fluid as water. He was respected by all the other animals. Tony's presence was a calming influence, and his strength was a source of reassurance for those who lived near him. He kept a watchful eye over his territory. Tony's vigilance ensured that his part of the jungle remained a safe haven for all its inhabitants. He was a silent guardian, always present, always watchful. Leo the lion and Tony the tiger were both powerful creatures. They both had their own families to protect, they both had their own territories to patrol, yet they lived in relative peace. They respected each other's strength.
They knew that conflict would benefit no one. A fight between them would only bring suffering and pain. It was in their best interest to coexist peacefully.
And so they did for many years. The animals in the jungle were grateful for the peace that Leo and Tony maintained. They could hunt and raise their young without fear.
The jungle thrived under their watchful eyes. It was a time of prosperity for all.
A wide, flowing river separated Leo's territory from Tony's. This river, with its gentle currents and sparkling waters, was more than just a geographical feature. It was a lifeline, a vital artery that nourished the land and its inhabitants. This river was a natural boundary. It marked the invisible line that divided the territories of the jungle's two most powerful predators, the lion and the tiger. Yet it was also a bridge, a connection that brought a sense of unity to the diverse ecosystem. It was a source of life for all the animals, From the smallest insects to the largest mammals, every creature depended on its waters. The river's banks were always bustling with activity, as animals came to quench their thirst and find solace in its cool embrace. They would come to drink from its cool, refreshing waters. The river was a sanctuary, a place where the jungle's inhabitants could find respite from the heat and the challenges of survival. It was a place of gathering where different species coexisted in harmony.
The river was more than just a water source. It was a symbol of the delicate balance that sustained the jungle. It represented the unspoken agreement among the animals to share the resources and live in peace. It was a symbol of peace. The river's gentle flow was a reminder that tranquility could be found even in the wildest of places. It was a testament to the power of nature to bring harmony to the most diverse of communities. It represented the understanding between Leo and Tony. Despite their differences, the lion and the tiger had come to an unspoken agreement. They respected each other's territories and acknowledged each other's presence with a nod of mutual respect. They would often be seen drinking from their respective sides, acknowledging each other with a nod. This simple gesture was a powerful symbol of their truce, a sign that they had found a way to coexist without conflict.
The river ensured that there was enough for everyone. Its abundant waters flowed generously, providing for the needs of all the jungle's inhabitants. There was no need for competition, as the river's bounty was more than sufficient. Leo's pride hunted on one side. The lions, with their majestic manes and powerful roars, ruled their territory with grace and strength. They relied on the river not only for water, but also as a strategic advantage in their hunts. Tony's family hunted on the other. The tigers, with their stealth and agility, were masters of their domain. They too depended on the river, using its banks as a place to rest and plan their next move. There was no need for competition. The river's presence ensured that both the lions and the tigers could thrive without encroaching on each other's territories. It was a delicate balance maintained by the river's constant flow. There was no need for conflict. The river's waters were a constant reminder of the peace that reigned in the jungle. It was a peace built on mutual respect and understanding, a peace that allowed all the animals to live in harmony.
The other animals also benefited from this arrangement. The river was a lifeline for the entire jungle, providing water and sustenance to all its inhabitants. From the smallest birds to the largest elephants, every creature found what they needed by its banks. They could drink from the river without fear. The presence of the river brought a sense of security to the jungle. It was a place where animals could gather without the threat of predators, a place where they could find peace. They knew that as long as the river flowed, peace would reign in the jungle. The river was the heart of the jungle, its lifeblood. It was a symbol of the harmony that existed among the animals, a harmony that was sustained by the river's constant gentle flow.
Section 4. The Drought. This chapter delves into one of the most challenging times the jungle has ever faced. One year, a terrible drought struck the jungle. It was unlike anything the inhabitants had ever experienced. The once vibrant ecosystem began to crumble under the relentless heat. The sun beat down relentlessly day after day with no respite. The temperature soared and the ground began to crack under the intense heat. The rains refused to come. The sky remained a cruel, unbroken blue, mocking the desperate creatures below who looked up, hoping for even a single cloud. The once lush vegetation withered and died. Trees that had stood tall for decades began to lose their leaves, and the underbrush turned to dust. The animals began to suffer. Without the usual abundance of food and water, their strength waned, and their spirits dimmed.
The river, once full and flowing, began to dwindle. It had been the lifeblood of the jungle, providing sustenance to all who lived there. Day by day, the water level dropped. The once mighty river was reduced to a mere shadow of its former self. Soon, only a trickle remained. The sound of flowing water, once a constant in the jungle, was now a rare and precious thing. The animals watched in despair as their lifeline slowly disappeared. They gathered around the dwindling water source, hoping for a miracle that never came. Panic began to set in. The usual harmony of the jungle was replaced by a sense of urgency and fear. The monkeys chattered nervously in the trees. Their usual playful antics were replaced by anxious calls and restless movements. The deer wandered aimlessly, parched and desperate. Their once graceful movements were now slow and labored. The once peaceful jungle was now filled with anxiety and fear. Every creature, big and small, felt the weight of the drought pressing down on them.
The drought affected everyone, including Leo and Tony. These majestic predators, who once ruled the jungle with confidence, now faced the same struggles as the rest. Their prides were becoming weaker, food was scarce, water was even scarcer. The once abundant prey had either fled or perished, leaving the predators with little to hunt. The situation was becoming desperate. The balance of life in the jungle was teetering on the edge, and every day brought new challenges and hardships. Some animals began to leave, seeking refuge in distant lands where water might still be found. The jungle, once a haven of life, was slowly emptying. Those who remained could see the desperation in each other's eyes. The drought had not only taken their resources but also their hope. The struggle for survival had never been more intense. The jungle's inhabitants were pushed to their limits, facing an uncertain future. But even in the darkest times there was a glimmer of hope. In the distance, the faint rumble of thunder hinted at the possibility of rain. The jungle held its breath, waiting for salvation. The animals looked up, their eyes filled with hope and anticipation. Could this be the end of their suffering? Only time would tell. And then, the first drops of rain began to fall. It was a sign of relief, a promise of renewal. The jungle, battered and weary, began to stir with new life. The animals rejoiced, their spirits lifted by the long-awaited rain. The drought had tested them, but it had also shown their resilience and strength. Slowly but surely, the jungle began to recover. The once barren landscape started to turn green again, a testament to the enduring power of nature. The drought had left its mark, but the jungle emerged stronger and more vibrant than ever. It was a reminder that, even in the face of adversity, life finds a way to endure and thrive. Section 5. A question of survival. The drought continued for weeks, turning the once lush jungle into a parched wasteland. The river, their symbol of peace, was now just a dry, cracked riverbed.
One scorching afternoon, Leo was hunting. He was weak from hunger and thirst. He desperately needed to find food for himself and his pride. Suddenly, he spotted a lone deer near the dried-up riverbed.
At the same time, Tony was also out hunting, driven by the same desperation for survival. He too spotted the lone deer, a beacon of hope in the desolate landscape. Their eyes met across the barren riverbed.